Hello my dear students. Today we'll discuss Archimedes principle. According to this principle, any body partially or wholly immersed in a liquid experiences an upward force. That upward force is called upthrust, which is equal in magnitude of the weight of the liquid displaced by the body. As you can see this diagram, here red color, which indicates the upthrust, the force which is in upward direction, and weight of the body in yellow color, the force which is in downward direction. It is also called buoyant force or upthrust. Its direction is just opposite to the direction of the weight. The buoyant force of an object is equal to the weight of the fluid it displaces. As you can see, this black arrow which indicates the weight of this object, and yellow color of an arrow which indicates the upward force, that is upthrust or buoyant force. These both the forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So, watching this diagram, you can see here two different conditions. In the first condition, the boy is sitting in a boat looking like a pumpkin, and the direction of buoyant force and weight is just opposite to each other. In the second condition, the stone is just down, that means it sink in this water, and the direction of both the forces are opposite to each other. Now, watching this, you can analyze that there is something relation between this buoyant force and weight. According to that, a body can float or sink in a liquid. Before discussing the condition of floating and sinking, I just want to explain you. Float means to stay above the surface of water, and sink means to go below the surface of water. So, floating and sinking, here three conditions are there. In the very first condition, when the body is immersed in a fluid, that means the weight of the body, which is acting vertically downward, the weight of the body. Now, the three conditions. So, condition case number 1, when the buoyant force is smaller than the weight of the body. In this case, the resultant force of the body which acts downward, that is the force acting downward direction, the body will sink in the liquid to the bottom. That means, as you can see the diagram of the stone, this is the condition when buoyant force is smaller. That means weight will be more, buoyant force will be less, hence the body will sink in liquid. Case number 2, when buoyant force is equal to the weight of the body. In this case, the body will float on the surface of the liquid, just below the surface of liquid. And in the third case, when the buoyant force is greater than the weight of the body. As you can see, this is the case of this boy. The third case, when buoyant force is greater, here buoyant force is greater than the force of the weight of that body. So one example is there in the book. When a piece of cork and a coin are placed in water, we find that the piece of the cork floats in water whereas the coin sinks. This is because of the reason that the density of the cork is less than the density of water, whereas the density of the coin is more than the density of water. This also you can reply, and you can reply your answers in terms of upthrust and weight. You can reply your answers in terms of weight and upthrust, or the density of the object, or the density of water. Any answer you can give. Okay. Next topic is the Plimsoll line, which is also called International Load Line. is the reference mark located on a ship hull that indicates the maximum depth to which the vessel may be safely immersed when loaded with cargo. This depth varies with the ship dimension, type of cargo, time of year, and water densities encountered in the port and at the sea. So one more is left, that is the comparison between the density in the three states. Solid have a higher density, we have already discussed in chapter 1. Then the liquids and higher density than the gases. I want to discuss the short answer type question of this exercise. A. First question is, what is density? States its unit. We have already discussed density is the ratio of mass of the body to its volume. Its SI unit is kg per meter cube. Name the principle, question number 2. Name the principle which gives the magnitude of buoyant force acting on a solid body immersed in a liquid. Only you have to write the name of the principle, and the name is Archimedes principle. Question number 3. Where does a solid weigh more? In air or in liquid? So, a solid weighs more in air than in liquid. This is due to the reason that the buoyant force of the liquid on the solid is more than the buoyant force of air on the solid. So, no need to write the explanation, you only write the condition, which weight is more. What is the density of water in SI units? Already discussed in the last video. State Archimedes principle, just now discussed. You write this. According to this principle, anybody partly or wholly immersed in a liquid experience an upward force, which is called upthrust, which is equal in magnitude to the weight of the liquid displaced by the body. Long answer type I will discuss in next video. Thank you.